Hey guys, hope you're good. We're back in again because last week I tried to do this webinar but failed because of some file error. I've created the whole webinar and the whole webinar went to waste because the file just was not exporting for some reason. I tried a new platform called Fuaadh. It didn't work, so I'm gonna try to hopefully try this again and hopefully it should work. Let's hope so. Now, I don't want to blag on too much for the introduction, but these webinars are going to be trying to release every single week on little topics here and there. For example, today is going to be money risk management, plans for signals that you can use. I'm going to try to do something else next week and a week after. I don't really know. So it's going to be mostly to do with trading topics, little trading topics that you can use as supplements to your trading. They're not going to teach you how to trade because the teaching aspect is something else. It's going to be best done if you've done the course or any type of education course online or even in person. As you guys know, I run a course that is best done in person or online, whichever you prefer. But this is going to be little tips, little tricks that you can do to maximize your trading abilities and potential that you have. So I'm presuming that you guys know the basics. If you don't know the basics, make sure to go online and check out, for example, babypips.com. It's a great website to learn how to learn the basics and also some types of intermediate techniques when it comes to trading. But I'm not going to teach you guys how to do that. So there's a lot of content online. So make sure you're familiar with terms such as lot sizes, what are pips, what are currency pairs, what are candlesticks, what are the type of candlesticks. So basics, take your time out every single day and maybe about 5-10 minutes, just sit there and try to grasp onto certain topics and try to do that consistently, because you're not going to be able to learn everything all at once. That is impossible. So just try to squeeze in a bit of an hour or so every single day to learn. And I also advise people who are looking to do the course to also do that, and don't come into the course with just a brand new mentality, with nothing, no experience at all, because there is a lot of stuff that you can do as self-study which will work and help you when you come to the course, because the course does move on in a very fast manner, and also the stuff that is talked about is quite advanced as well, going from the bare basics. But let's get started with the money risk management plans for signals. This is main reason I'm doing this is because a lot of people are struggling to find consistency with signals. Some people are just trading maybe not consistently. They're trading like one signal a day, one signal a week, and missing out majority of the good signals. Some people just do the bad signals. First of all, you got to make sure your kind of consistency is present when it comes to you following signals, because if it isn't, then you can't really do much. Whatever money risk management plan, whatever I teach is not going to be of help if you don't have consistency. So let's try to make sure whatever signal I'm sending, try to be on the ball, try to maybe even have an alert on WhatsApp for a specific ringtone or a specific message sound, especially for my signals. So when my message comes through, you know that this is a signal. You can easily do that by just clicking on my name and then going down and clicking sounds or whatever. So it should be pretty easy to do that. But a lot of people do that, just so I'll put it out there. So now consistency, make sure that it's there. Next is lot sizes. Lot sizes is specifically what I want to cover today. Lot sizes and keeping them the same. So you don't want to be varying lot sizes for every single trade that you do. For example, I send a Euro USD trade, you do say 0.05 of a lot. And say I send a USD CAD and you do 0.10 of a lot on that USD CAD. Now that Euro USD ends up profiting, right? It profits of 30 pips. So now USD CAD comes in, USD CAD hits stop loss. So you lose of 30 pips. What will happen? You'll end up overall, even though that you're breaking even. Break even overall amount of pips is going to be 0 pips, right? But how much have you lost? You lost 30 pips on a 0.05 trade, and also you lost. So you gain 0.0, lost 30 pips on a 0.10 trade. What you'll have done is essentially lost money. You wouldn't have broken even, you would have actually lost quite a bit of money just because of you not being consistent with your lot size. The lot size you're varying. A lot of people I see doing this every single day and they tell me, Fuaadh, why am I losing money? What am I doing wrong? This is the case. This is the scenario. You have to stick to a single amount when it comes to trading. So now that is the only way you're going to be able to track your overall pips that you gained for the week and how many pips you lost for the week. So for example, if I bring you guys the last week's last week's results, let me see if I can quickly find that. Can I find it? Okay, last week it was 750 pips, right? 750 pips overall. I've lost 100 pips and I gained overall 850. That's roughly on top of my head. Now imagine you had put, say, 0.25 of a lot on the losing ones and you ended up putting 0.75 or 1 of a lot on each trade on the lost pips. You put 0.25, gain pips you put 1 of a lot, so 1 of a lot, so 1 whole lot. Your lost pips, this overall profit that you'd have made, the 750 pips, is not gonna correlate with how much of a lot size you're using. So if in this scenario you would have actually, this loss that you would have made wouldn't have made much of a difference at all, because you're risking a lot more on the positive pips and you risked a tiny bit compared to the 1.00 of a lot on the losing pips. So therefore this wouldn't have made much of a difference and you would have been happy and you'd have been like, cool, no problem, I'm going to do the same thing again next week. But imagine this new week that you did, the roles switch around. It goes from 0.25 of a lot on the good trades and 1.00 on the bad trades. Now this week it's going to be a terrible week, because even though overall you ended up with 750 pips positive, what that's going to do, this is now going to be detrimental on your overall balance. Your overall balance is going to be on a negative most likely, because that 100 pips that you put 1.00 of a lot on each trade, that is going to be a significant loss. Now make sure, because of that, you're going to stick to this money risk management plan. So those scenarios, hopefully that helped you, the importance of keeping the lot size the same. Now pick a lot size, pick your balance. A lot of you start with a, say, £500 account. With a £500 account, you're going to have 0.01 for every £100 of your balance, for every £100 in your balance. Now with that, so if you have £500, that would be 0.05. Now with that 0.05, this is what you're going to be using for every single trade that you're going to be putting in. So if I send a Euro USD and I tell you buy now at this rate, your stop loss is this rate, and your take profit is at this rate, what you're going to do is TP1, you're going to put 0.05, TP2, you're going to put 0.05. I send another signal, USD JPY, you're going to TP1, TP2, you'll put 0.05, TP3. So you just stick to that consistently and do not go abroad and do not go from one trade. For example, I send a new USD JPY signal, TP1, you put maybe 0.02, TP2, you put 0.0, I don't know, 6. You're not going to be able to be consistent. So make sure you are sticking to 0.05 if you have a £500 account. If you have a £100 account, it's 0.01. If you have a £1,000 account, it's 0.10. Those are what you want to be using for as a lot size, a rule of thumb. So this is for, it's not really high risk, but it's not actually very low risk, because if you're going to do very low risk, it's going to go even safer than this. But I don't want to go through that mentality just yet, unless you're trading with a capital of more than 10k or 15k, then I would be looking at that. But for now, considering the amount of signals that I send, the signal strength that I send as well, the signals are pretty strong, as you guys have seen in the past few weeks. In fact, past 4 or 5 months, they have been really strong. So I don't want to go extremely low risk, because if you do, then you're not probably going to be making any type of money with that £500 account, because it's going to be gradual. Some of you, I see that with the £500 account, you're doing 0.01 on every trade and you're making like £1-2. That is actually way too risk-free, and then end of the week you're just going to be like, what is this? Is £9 that I'm making, £10 that I'm making? It's not going to be great at all. So make sure you're risking this and you're using this as a rule of thumb. So also I wanted to go through a bit of tracking with you guys. Let me see how much minutes I have. I've got about 5 more minutes, so I can go a bit of tracking. So just like the way I calculate my overall pips and trades for the week, I want you to, from now on, every single week, take the amount of the trades that you've done. Trades done, right? So trades done, maybe I've done 5 trades. You can fill that out and be like, I've done 5 trades this week. Positive pips for those, maybe 100 pips. Negative pips, going to be, I don't know, 50 or 60 pips, right? Overall is 40 pips. 40 pips on my first week of the trial. First week, this is what I made, 40 pips. This is actually 40 pips that you never made last week. You got to think of it in a positive manner. If you went negative, you want to make sure why you went negative, right? So overall positive pips, and you're going to write a summary of how your last week went. So last week I took this trade and that trade. I rushed into this trade. You want to give a few, points and bullet points that you can take on to the next week and learn from that. So every single week, try to have a track of how you're doing, how you're progressing with the signals, without the signals if you're doing it, because without this tracker, you're not going to be able to see progress upon your own self. And also make sure on that tracker, you're going to have how much you're risking. So 0.01 for every £100 in your balance, 0.05 if you have 500. Do not go up in this lot size every single week. So even if you started with a £500 this week, say you started £500, this week went amazing, right? You're using 0.05 on every trade. It went amazing. So now it did good. Next week, week 2, you have upped your capital from 500 to maybe 560, right? With 560, are you going to use the same 0.01 technique? You're going to still stick to the same lot size. Next week you do, maybe go to 650. You're going to still stick to that same 0.05 on every trade on week 3. On week 4, maybe you lost a bit of money. You went to maybe 630. You're still going to stick to 0.03, and you're not going to fluctuate, because when you fluctuate, that is when you're gonna go down and everything is gonna look so blurry, everything is gonna be so unclear. So make sure you're doing that. And what you're gonna do at the end of the month, you're gonna be like, okay, what did I start with? I started with 500. What did I end with? I ended with 630. That is overall £130 increase on my account. Now percentage wise, let me look at that. If you look at it percentage wise, that is actually a significant figure. So let me just look at that roughly. So £50 is 10%. £50 is 10%. £100 is 20%. So roughly £25 is 5%. So yeah, so 5% is £25. Let me just make sure you guys know how to calculate the percentage wise. So how much is that? £130. I just got to add 150. Well, not 150, but 100, and then you got 25, about 25% increase in your overall balance. So it's pretty good, it's really, really good. 25% increase roughly on your account. It will be like 27.5, and that's what it should be. So 25% increase, and then next month you're gonna do the same thing. 25% increase. If you divide that by 4, that's actually really, really good. Imagine how much banks give you at the end of every year. It's like 2% or 3% increase of your capital for the entire year. So make sure you're not attempting to increase it by 100% or 200%, because when you do that, you can also risk losing that entire capital of 100% or 200% at the end of every week even, or at the end of every month. So have realistic targets, and realistic targets is what going to be making you into a successful trader. Yeah, so I just ended up getting a call. My whole flow ruined. But hopefully you guys understand the importance of having a consistent lot size. So make sure you're doing this, keeping track of this every single week. And hopefully at the end of every single month, you're going to be able to see how much you're going up by, how much you're also going down by, and from there you can see realistically what you can be making with Forex and what the potentials are when you're able to do it. So hopefully you guys like today's webinar. It's a short webinar. I'm going to be trying to do more of these as time goes by, and if you guys have any type of suggestions for the next one, just leave a comment on this one, and for the next one I'll cover that. But like I said, there are many different types of money risk management plans, some of them which I go through in the course, but this is, I think, is the most effective one for signals. If you're going to be following my signals specifically, I'm not sure about other people, because other people send 100, 200 signals an entire week, and I send literally about 5 to 10 maybe with really good signals. So this one would work for mine. Maybe if you try on another person's, you may end up even risking and blowing your whole account. So make sure you are aware of that. As always, trading does involve risk, so make sure whatever money you're putting in, you're affording to lose that. You're not going to be loaning out people's money. They're not going to be asking people for money to be able to trade, because that is psychologically going to affect you even more. And I think the next topic is going to be more on psychology and how to trade without having psychology affecting you. So yeah, thanks guys for listening. Tune in until the next webinar.